We've got barbecue back here. You're all invited. Welcome to the SlooPcast. How are you doing today, Kyle?
Doing all right, Jared. Doing all right. How you doing?
I wish I would have refilled my water before we started. Feeling a little dry.
Too late. We are going to go right into it. Week 11.
Feeling a little dry. I'm a little dry.
Week 11, Jared. Week 11 for our SlooPicks here. We have 6 games to choose from here. Our 7th one, you can listen to that in yesterday's episode of Know Your Enemy, Spartan Edition. So let's get right into it. The first game here, our noon games here. A lot of good games this weekend. A lot of good games.
I'll tell you how good this is. We are not picking USC Oregon. It just didn't make the cut. Is the fact that it's at 10:30 hurt? Yeah, it did. I had 3 games that I all kind of wanted, but in 2 spots to put them in, and then I was just as a tiebreaker, just get the 10:30 game out of here.
Yeah. All right, first game, Alabama taking on Kentucky. This game is in Kentucky. Noon game, as I mentioned, and Alabama is a 10.5 point favorite.
Where was I supposed to go?
Yeah, sure.
Were you just
why don't you
zone out there for a second there, Kyle?
I did. I was just like, all right, Jared's going to pick up here and we're just going to move along.
You normally ask me.
I know.
Okay.
All right. I know.
Okay. 100% of the time against FBS competition. Kentucky covers when they win and fail to cover when they lose. If Kentucky wins, they cover. If Kentucky loses, they don't cover. It has been the case every single game this year for Kentucky, except the one against the FCS school, but I don't care about that one. And I'll tell you right now, they aren't going to beat Bama. Give me Bama, win and cover.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of those games where Saban's still coaching. Kentucky's not as good as what people thought they were at the beginning of the year. Yeah, give me the Crimson Tide in this one to cover the 10.5 point spread. Suncard is our guest picker this week here. And so we asked him who he has in this game, and he says here, okay, so maybe I was wrong about Bama last week. Just maybe. I'm not going to fall for that again. So he has Bama winning by 14.
All right. Next up, Michigan, Penn State. Michigan favored by 4.5 points.
Michigan finally starting their season.
Yeah. I mean, no kidding. We joke about, when a team plays a team with a pulse, but Michigan's best win right now is Rutgers.
Yeah, no, it's definitely Rutgers. There's no one else here.
That team that Ohio State fans got mad that Ohio State didn't beat pretty enough. Because there's 2 types of games for Ohio State fans. There are games that you want to win, and there are games that get really mad when you don't win pretty enough. And people were treating the Rutgers game like it was a game in which you weren't just trying to win, you were trying to win pretty. And that's Michigan's best win, is what you're telling me right now, Kyle.
Yep.
What's their second best win?
Minnesota?
Minnesota? Oh boy, you said that.
I'm looking here. I'm looking here. It's Minnesota, Nebraska, Indiana.
Yikes!
Not good pickings. Not good pickings.
Who do they play next week?
Maryland.
Okay.
They play. Well, I mean the West isn't really all that all that great either. But
it's just, but they got a good selection from the West, is what you're saying.
Nebraska,
yeah,
Minnesota,
yeah, and Northwestern.
Purdue.
Oh, Purdue.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here, this is my full analysis on this game.
All right.
Cheating ass Michigan falls. Penn State to win and cover.
Oh yeah. Give me the Nittany Lions here. Michigan has not played a team at all. They finally get to play a team with a decent offense, with a stellar defense, one of the best defenses in the country here. Finally, Michigan gets to play a team here. They're not going to be ready. They're not going to be ready for Penn State here. Penn State will win this game.
And they're not going to see it coming either. If only there was a sign.
I know, right?
Cheating ass Michigan. Kyle,
what does Sun Card say?
I think we both asked each other at the same time.
Fine, I will read what Sun Card told us here.
I wish
I could say that I trust Penn State to handle business, and I wish this was an 8 p.m. kick in the whiteout. But I believe Franklin will terrapin and hand this one over to the khaki troopers. Franklin definitely rides alone. Michigan by 10.
I'm still trying to figure out terrapin as a verb. I only know the word terrapin as a noun.
The only thing I can think of is will be terrified. Be terrified? I don't know. You got to help me out, Sun Card.
No, because it's still not a verb. Because it's. I believe Franklin will. Like, only a verb can go there.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the afternoon games here. Florida State hosting Miami here. 3:30 ABC kickoff. Florida State is a 14.5 point favorite in this game. Man, how Miami have fallen here. Where they are a 14.5 point underdog here when they were highly ranked earlier in the season here, but here we are. I got in this one. I got Florida State to cover. I just looking at these last few games here, Miami's kind of struggled a little bit here, especially last weekend where they only put up 6 points.
Yeah,
against NC State here. Florida State is just a dominant team, one of the best in the country here. I got Florida State to cover here.
All right. I honestly don't know how to feel about this game. I think 14.5 is a good line. I see this as like Miami keeping it kind of close until late. But then like they probably turn the ball over. Florida State scores. It looks like up until like the last few minutes of the game, like Florida State's not going to cover, and then they will somehow cover by the end. It feels like it's going to be one of those games. Miami keeps it intriguing, and then Florida State tacks on a bunch of points late in the fourth. So I got Florida State to win and miraculously secure a cover. Sun Card says, Pitt, what happened, bro? Yeah. Oh, Miami. Florida State wins, but does not cover. Florida State by 13.
Okay.
Next up, we got Tennessee. We got Missouri. battle for second place in the SEC East, I guess. Should Georgia not be able to fulfill their duties? Yeah. I have number 14, number 16 on my chart. I think I took these screenshots before the actual rankings came out, but
13 and 14.
13 and 14. That's even better. Tennessee, Kyle. Tennessee favored by 1.5 points. Both of these teams 7-2 coming into this tilt, but Tennessee gets a 1.5 point nod.
It's pretty much a pick 'em. I mean, at 1 point, but yeah, I think Tennessee's just an overall better team here. I still don't really trust Missouri at all. I mean, yeah, they put up a good fight against Georgia last weekend, but I'm still not on the Missouri train here. So I'll take Tennessee to cover.
Yeah, as you said, this is damn near a pick 'em. I slightly, so yeah, forget the against the spread stuff. Let's just call the game here, I think. And if the 1 point screws me, then the 1 point screws me. I'll say I like Missouri's offense more than I like Tennessee's offense. But I think Tennessee's defense is probably the difference maker here. I think Tennessee does have a better defense than Missouri, so I think I'm going to give Tennessee the nod.
Yep. All right. Let's see. Suncard says here the dreaded SEC East schedule gets tougher and tougher each year. Honestly, instead of moving to 9 conference games to the SEC, they should go to 7. It's a miracle these teams make it through a single season. Tennessee is known for moonshine, and I can't think of a single drink that comes from Missouri. Tennessee by 3.
So you got moonshine, which I would say is more of a Kentucky thing, if I'm being honest. It's bourbon, Suncard. It is bourbon. Although Kentucky can also claim bourbon, but it's Kentucky and Tennessee they claim bourbon. Oh God, Odin with an immediate follow up in the Discord chat. He goes, the river shot is from Missouri, Mississippi River water with vodka and Mountain Dew. Please God, tell me that that's not why Mississippi River water. Why does it have to be? Are we filtering it first? What's happening? Are you kidding? Is this a joke? I need answers. No, it's raw.
Suncard. You can't think of a single drink in Missouri?
Anheuser. He's talking about like a cocktail.
Then say a cocktail.
But that's obviously what he's talking about. He's like a drink from there, like a.
All right. Moving on. Utah and Washington. Washington is a 8.5 point favorite in this game. 3:30 on Fox. Utah is still not Utah. They haven't been all year. They won't be the rest of the year here. At this point, I think we said this a few weeks ago. If their quarterback wasn't going to return by now, or by a couple weeks ago, I think it was against Oregon, we would not see him back at all. So I think it's the same case here. I think Washington covers this easily by 8.5. So give me the Huskies.
Washington last week broke a 4-game against the spread losing streak. Utah, on the other hand, I think I like Utah more than Kyle likes Utah. I've noticed that the one thing you need, like, so far, the kryptonite for Utah is playing teams in the state of Oregon. Their losses coming to Oregon and Oregon State. I feel like this is either feel like this is a game in which Utah like either like shocks the Pac-12 with an upset. And it would probably be like a late game, true like team chaos, exciting upset. Or they just get obliterated, lose by even like not obliterated, but like 2 touchdowns or more, right? I feel like it's one of those 2 scenarios. It's either like a real easy win for Washington or like a triumphant win last drive-ish for Utah. I feel like those are the 2 likely scenarios here. I'm gonna go with the Utah 2 scores, or excuse me, the Washington win of 2 scores or more. Like the Washington blowout. The Washington blowout win, I think, is the more likely of those scenarios. So I'm going to go with that.
All right. And some card here says, hate to say it, but this is chalk. Washington is back on schedule and Utah is banged up. Washington by 10.
Yep.
All right. And our last game here is our night game here on ESPN, Ole Miss and Georgia. Georgia coming into this game as a 11.5 point favorite in this game here. So kind of like with some other teams here where I mean Georgia is the better team. Georgia is the better team in this game, but these past few games, have we really seen, like, is this really the Georgia team that's here to stay here? They looked pretty decent against Missouri. They looked good against Florida, but Florida isn't really what they were panned out to be looking back now. But Ole Miss kind of, I think Ole Miss can really run with them here. I think 11.5 is a lot of points here, especially with a Ole Miss team who made it close for a while against Alabama, and they've just been dominant this year, especially as of throughout the season here. They've looked good. I'll take Ole Miss in a close one. I still think Georgia will win, but I think Ole Miss will keep this really close and give the dogs keep the dogs sweating.
Dogs don't sweat, for the record.
Okay.
That's why they hang their tongue out of their mouth. That's their
Yeah. What do you got, Jared?
Georgia has struggled this year against the spread. They've only covered twice this year out of 9 attempts. Georgia beat Missouri by only 9 points last week, and I think Ole Miss is a better team than Missouri. So I'm gonna give Georgia, or I'm still gonna give Georgia the win. I'm not gonna call upset here, but I think I will call a Ole Miss cover at the least.
All right. And some card says here, if the football gods have ears and can read, please hear me out. Why not, just for one Saturday, let the chaos magic out of the bag?
No, I mean, let's not just take out the chaos magic one week.
Ole Miss winning by 3.
Calling the upset. You got to listen. You got to respect it. You got to respect calling the upset.
Yep.
All right, that's our last game, Kyle. So speaking of calling the upset, who do you have in your chaos pick this week? For you, those of you who don't know, we pick an unranked team to beat a ranked team at the end of every show, in which we actually remember to do it.
Mm-hmm. So we're recording this earlier, but we're posting this on Friday. But Thursday, Louisville versus Virginia. You have a 11th ranked Louisville versus Virginia is one. Kansas 16th versus Texas Tech is another potential pick as well. Kansas State, who's right there at the edge, 25th, taking on Baylor. Maybe my pick here, 22nd Iowa versus Rutgers. That might be a good one. That might be a good pick as well.
Yeah.
12th ranked Oregon State versus Stanford, but Stanford is bad this year, so that might not be a good one. LSU's 19th, taking on Florida. Duke taking on 24th UNC.
Yeah, you always got to feel a little bit bad when you pick, like when the ranked team you're picking. Same thing with Iowa. If that team's like 20th something, that doesn't ever feel like a bold pick.
Yeah, and the other ones here is Texas 7th taking on TCU. I wouldn't touch that. And USC on the road to Oregon. That is your Pac-12 after dark game.
Kyle, I'm going to go. Wouldn't it be something if Oklahoma dropped a game for a third straight week?
Wouldn't that be?
West Virginia is not a bad team this year. I think they've kind of flown under the radar a bit because they looked real bad early, but West Virginia is not a bad team. They killed BYU. Yeah, BYU sucks, but still West Virginia killed them, right? I'm gonna go West Virginia over Oklahoma. I think maybe just the wheels are falling off the wagon in Oklahoma. My chaos pick's gonna be a WVU upset over the Sooners.
Okay, that's not a bad pick here. You know, that game out in Eugene looks very tempting there, but I think USC got rid of their problem. Well, they got rid of their problem. They got rid of their problem. Will that actually turn things around this weekend?
I was just waiting for his heart to grow through. Thought, man, it wasn't even that good of a joke.
He ruined it.
We just move forward.
Man, yeah, I think that was a really good one. I think I'm going to play it safe this weekend. I'm going to pick the Scarlet Knights to beat the Hawkeyes this weekend.
That's cheap. That's cheap, and you know it.
That's fine. I'm not picking Stanford. I'm not picking Stanford over Oregon State here.
I see. Now, if I were you, I think, and if you were trying not to copy mine, maybe I thought maybe that's where you would have gone.
Stanford's not a good team here.
Well,
their wins were against Hawaii.
Yeah.
Colorado, who's not good.
But a lot of people thought they were good at the time.
No, they're not. And last weekend they beat Washington State, who's a team. And all the teams that they lost,
Washington State was a highly ranked team at the time, were they not?
Were they?
When Stanford beat them?
No, they weren't.
No. Okay.
They started off 4-0. Washington started off 4-0. They are on a 5. Washington State. Washington State started the season 4-0, beat Oregon State, but ever since they've lost 5 straight. They are 4-5 now.
Wow. How did I not know that?
Including losses to Stanford, not a good team, and Arizona State, who's probably even a worse team.
The Arizona State's bad. What?
Yeah, so
Washington
I'm not touching that.
Washington State, I think, got what would have been right before their loss. I thought they got ranked somewhat highly, didn't they?
Yeah, they were like in the teens somewhere, like the mid upper teens, but yeah, then they plummeted from there.
Yeah. All right. Are there any Ask Sloopcast questions or anything else we need to get to before we wrap this one up?
Let's see here. Will Utah do the funny thing on Saturday versus Washington?
Utah do the funny thing? What does that mean?
That's your question, Odin. You may want to chime in there.
Do the funny thing, like score 69 points? Are we? He's typing. I'm talking for a second to not leave empty air while he types. What's the funny thing? Utah, the funny thing? I don't know what this
While he's typing there, the other question we had: how badly? Oh, there he is.
It's an ongoing meme on
Twitter.
Where doing the funny thing is essentially upsetting them and causing a shit wreck in the Pac-12. I'm off Twitter. I mean, yeah, I think it's possible. I think it's, I mean, as I pointed out earlier, I think it's like one of the two likely scenarios in my head for that game is either a Utah upset or a Washington blowout. And I feel like it's going to be one of those two extremes. I really think so.
All right, and the other question we have here: how badly will aggressive, pissed off pocket hot dog boys beat Penn State this weekend?
I predicted an upset earlier.
Yep.
I think it's a close game. I think it's a game. I think the outcome's very 50-50. Like in my head, the outcome feels very 50-50. I think it can go either way. That's it. And like, I think that's it. I think the game legitimately can go in either direction, which is why, you know, if you give me 4.5 points to take one of them, I'll take that one.
Yep.
Overtime. That game goes into overtime, maybe? That'd be fun. Penn State, Michigan, overtime.
All right. The last question we have from Odin here: have these last 2 weeks made you the happiest you've been in a long time, given the rivals being cheats?
It's been fun. I'm not gonna lie, it's been fun. And like they've tried, and I assume these are Michigan people leaking stuff to the, like they're trying their damnedest to like to do the whataboutism with Ohio State.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. They're in the whataboutism stage right now. But this team did this though. Let's point and direct the attention to somebody else here.
First, they try and blame the Ryan Day crime family, which apparently has been confirmed not to be true. Which I
came back and said what they did.
I am bitterly disappointed. I so wanted the Ryan Day crime family to be responsible for all of this stuff being turned into the NCAA and turned out to the media. I wanted it to be true. I wanted Ryan Day to have hired a private investigation firm to out the hell out of Michigan. I wanted it to be true. In fact, I don't believe the report from the NCAA saying it's not true, because I'm in denial still. Michigan's in the whataboutism phase, as Kyle said. I'm still in denial. I want it to be true. That is an amazing chapter in the Ohio State football, Michigan football rivalry novel. The hiring of a private investigation firm? Come on. That's climax of the book right there. What was the actual question? I forgot. I got too excited talking about the Ryan Day crime family.
Have these 2 weeks been the happiest you've been in a long time?
Right. And then the other bit of whataboutism is that Ohio State and Rutgers sent advanced hand signal scouting to, who was it? Purdue? Yeah, Purdue in the Big Ten championship game. One, if you had just found out that Michigan had stolen your hand signals, would you not, just out of spite? Because honestly, if you're like, I would never, you're a better person than me or a fucking liar. If you just found out Michigan stole all your hand signals and it cost you the football game and you're not gonna retaliate. Second, if Ohio State did that scouting in game, it's legal. If that's in game scouting, Ohio State's allowed to do that. And I don't know if there's anything in the rules saying I can't send a spreadsheet to the other team of what I think the other team's hand signals were. I don't know what that rule is. Furthermore, understand that the hand signals are only like one part of this. People always talk about the hand signals, the hand charts, yada, yada, yada. Have you ever noticed when Ohio State sends in the plays? We actually talked about this for some reason, except on the Rutgers side during the game last week. They got 3, 4, 5 people sending in the hand signals. Kyle, do you need 3 or 4, 5 people to send in a play? Is the hand signaling that complicated? No.
Why can't we? College football is the only, like.
Hold on. You need to follow that thread, but I need to finish this thought first. Why do you have 3 or 4 or 5 people sending in the hand signals? Because they're not all sending in the plays.
Yeah,
it's not
before you all go in and be like,
just deciphering the hand signals. It is decoding which of those hand signals from the 3 or 4 or 5 guys on the sideline sending in the hand signals. What info there is good and what info there is bad. Like, for example, maybe the coach all the way to the left is sent because he's the first one is sent. And God, I hope it's not this basic, but just as an example, it's first down. So I'm looking at the first coach. And the first coach's hand signals are good on first down. And then the second coach's signals are the quote unquote good signals, the correct signals on second down. You wouldn't actually do that. That's way too fucking basic. But you understand my point. Like, some of the guys are sending in fake signals and one guy, or I assume one guy, I don't know how it works, is sending in a real signal. So understand that Michigan cracking the Ohio State play calling code isn't just about hand signals. It's deciphering who is sending good info and who is sending bad info. Kyle, college football is the only sport where, is what you were saying.
It's the only level that doesn't have radio in their helmet. High school has it. Professional has it. Why the hell?
High school has radios in the helmet?
Yeah.
God, I'm old.
Yes. Like, why is college? Why doesn't college do it? Like, I don't understand.
I mean,
and that gets rid of all of this.
Some high schools. I think my old one does now. Centerville. My high school didn't have money, and I'm old.
I mean, like when I was in high school, yeah, you had one guy. You had one guy that went in every play.
Yeah,
coach yells it in the ear, and they send them in. Yeah,
you just always had to sub somebody
too,
which honestly is not a terrible system.
It's not, no, especially if it's like a wide receiver when you are running the ball 80% of the time. So
yeah,
but yeah, just let's get the radios and the helmets, and then you won't have this issue then.
It feels super obvious. So the NCAA will do it in 7 to 8 years.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. That's the end of the show. Plugs. This is
Sun Card.
Sun Card.
Got a question for Suncard, got a question for you.
Apparently,
I have a question for you. No, we're about the end of the episode because we were confused on one of your picks here, the Penn State Michigan pick here. Reading what you sent us here. So you said, I wish this was an 8 p.m. kick and a whiteout, but I believe Franklin will terrapin and hand this one over to the khaki troopers. What do you mean by terrapin?
Yeah, okay. We know, but I've never. I understand it.
Confused on what you mean.
Used as a verb. It's a Big Ten punt. I'm aware. I'm not familiar with terrapinning. Like they will terrapin. Like using it as a verb. I made it up. Okay, but what does it mean? Like Clemsoning. But the thing is about Clemsoning is that we all understand what it means. I don't know what terrapinning means. And that's the plug section. Kyle, what do you have in Kyle's corner?
Who couldn't get it done?
Well, he says Franklin always plays small and loses.
He does.
Why are we naming it after? Why are we naming it after the terrapins though? Turtle up. So is it kind of like goes into his shell?
Yeah.
So when I said, what does terrapinning mean? You could have said, go into your shell. And we could have all saved a lot of time here.
Yep. Right.
Also, I probably could have just got it. Because now that you explain it, it's not. Okay, sorry.
All right, that's it. I think that's all we have.
No Kyle's corner
here. Crew loses. They play Sunday. They got to win.
Get it. We'll get it figured out. All right. That's it. That's the end of the show. Once again, tonight's ending music is Columbus-based band Mr. Moon. That name again is Mr. Moon. Surely someone gets that reference. Someone gets okay. Apparently, nope, not going to give it away. I'm not going to give it away. So once again, that name again is Mr. Moon. And with all that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to drink local beer, listen to local music, and of course, push local podcasters. Once again, this is Mr. Moon.